Welcome, everybody, to the College of Business and Economics 50th Anniversary Virtual Tribute. I'll wait a second here for what I assume is wild applause to die down for a bit. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the CSUEB Jazz Band for warming us all up. And a special shout out to the guy who somehow played trumpet through a surgical mask. Your musical department must have some very specific classes. So who am I? Excellent question. I probably should have gotten to it earlier. I'm your host today. My name is J.R. Havlin. I am a proud alumni of CSUEB, class of '87. I majored in finance. When I graduated, I moved to New York City, the financial capital of the world, where naturally I became a comedy writer. Now, keep in mind, I graduated in December, just over a month after the stock market crash of '87. So New York at that time was a challenging place, to say the least. I may as well have showed up to interviews holding a cardboard box with like a sad little plant sticking out of it that I would have been walking out of the place with a week later anyway. So I found out, though, soon enough, that my education was worth more to me than I even knew. It was my education that gave me the ability to make an adjustment, to focus on my strengths and have confidence in myself. And after a series of less glamorous jobs, many of them involving me asking people how they want their steak done, I eventually began writing for The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Pretty good gig. I worked there for 18 years, which I describe as 17 of the best years of my life. But enough about me. We really appreciate you all being here. A lot of people have put a lot of effort into this event, and we have some great speakers and videos in store for you. I know this is kind of a weird way to celebrate a 50th anniversary, but if you think about it, most people who celebrate a 50th anniversary do it by eating Jell-O on a cruise ship. So, you know, in comparison, it's not so bad. This is the CBE 50th anniversary, and we're officially kicking it off now with a year-long celebration with the primary goal of empowering tomorrow makers. I remember 30 years ago when I was a tomorrow maker. These days, I'm a bit more of a yesterday ponderer, but I still have some tomorrows ahead of me. And the education that I received in Hayward has always been the foundation for everything I do, my ongoing desire to learn, to ask questions, to solve problems, and in my case, to then run off and write silly jokes about all of it. The focus of the CBE is transformation. There are many ways to interpret that, but the basis is becoming something that you were not, metamorphosis. In this case, taking students and transforming them into leaders, empowering them to become tomorrow makers. The CBE at Cal State University East Bay is an opportunity. It's literally a beacon on the hill, a place that you look up to. And it has been since way back when I went there, and we didn't even have an exercise room back then. Have you seen the one they have now? It's crazy. I could get muscles in that place. I think back then our library was in a trailer. So it's not just the students, but the institution itself that is constantly transforming, always pushing, always improving, always striving to find the best way to nurture the leaders of tomorrow. That is the College of Business and Economics at California State University East Bay. And that is what we're all here to celebrate today. And right now, I have a great privilege to introduce the man who has provided leadership to this effort for the past 8 years. He is not only a great leader, but also an effective communicator, an inspirational presence. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. He's a great guy. I hung out with him. He's an excellent person. And CSUEB is undoubtedly a better place thanks to his contributions. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to hand things over for the moment to the president of California State University East Bay, Mr. Leroy Morishita.
Thank you, JR, and thank you for those kind words about me, but I really do appreciate the good words you talked about the College of Business and Economics and what we try to do in terms of transforming lives of our students. So good afternoon. Congratulations to the College of Business and Economics on your 50th anniversary. What a golden moment, truly. As JR said, wish we could all be together in person, celebrating this very, very remarkable milestone. But as you are well aware, COVID-19 has changed our world forever in a way that nobody ever imagined when we turned the calendar into 2020. But I am so proud of the transformation that the college has gone through and how much it has grown and changed over the last 50 years. So let me give you a little bit about the past. In 1959, 400 students in total, 100 full-time students, started attending classes at State College of Alameda County. And so that was the total enrollment at that time. In 2020, there are 3,294 students enrolled just in the College of Business and Economics. What a remarkable change. The Division of Business and Economics started out offering 5 courses. Today, the College of Business and Economics offers 11 undergraduate and 10 graduate programs and concentrations. And Dean George Lowe, whom you will shortly meet, is the 9th dean in the illustrious history of the College of Business and Economics. And I have had the honor and pleasure of meeting and or working with 5 of the college deans. Many of our alumni were drawn to our university because of the outstanding reputation of our business programs. Our business grads have made exceptional contributions to the economic vitality of the Bay Area and beyond. And I have had, as president, had good fortune to meet a number of them and have been very impressed by their successes, but also by their humility, humanitarianism, and how they are good and likable people, like JR and others. They never forgot where they came from, many coming from very humble backgrounds. They struggled and worked hard to be successful at our university and throughout their careers and lives. You have met one of these, J.R. Haviland, and you'll meet some others today as well. I admire and respect all of them for their accomplishments, but I also like them as well. And today, business continues to be one of the university's most popular majors on our campus. In our recent 40 Under 40 Awards program, where we recognize young alumni who have made significant contributions toward uplifting their communities, 35% of the awardees came from the College of Business and Economics. I want to just tell you about 2 examples of the people that represented the college in our 40 Under 40. Eric Law, he's 2nd generation Chinese and first male in his family to graduate. He is currently a senior vice president for Bank of the West, responsible for market growth in San Francisco. In his spare time, he advocates for the Asian American community, including the Asian Health Services in Chinese Real Estate Associate of America. Another alum that was honored, Michelle Schumeister. She pursued a career in the tech industry and is currently a planning manager at Facebook. By age 30, she bought her first apartment complex and started a property management firm. She also went on to start an Bay Area skincare company dedicated to clean, organic, and effective skincare. And she contributes to the Bee Cause movement through bee conservation and education. Good 2 of the examples of remarkable people that graduated from the College of Business and Economics. So I want to thank everybody who has played a role in getting us where we are today. The students, our faculty, our staff, our alumni, our donors, our emeriti, and friends of the college. You all are a part of this very amazing legacy. So onwards to the next 50 years. Please enjoy the rest of the program and the weekend. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Leroy Morishita. Hope to see you in New York City again soon, and not just because you picked up the bill for the lobster rolls last time. Well, we're certainly starting out with all the big hitters because next up is a very special speaker. Of course, this is the 50th anniversary of the CBE. So what better person could we have with us to clarify the message and the goals of the institution other than the dean, Please welcome Dean George Lowe.
Thank you, JR, and thank you, President Morishita, for being part of this 50th anniversary celebration. I am delighted and honored to be the Dean of the College of Business and Economics at Cal State East Bay. Our college has grown since 1970, and throughout today's event, you'll see we have a lot to be proud of, both as a college and as a university. We have been continuously AACSB accredited since 1973. On top of that, a number of recognition and rankings. We're one of the top 50 colleges that pay off the most in a recent CNBC ranking from this year, in the top 25 public national universities in the country. Number 14 in Money Magazine's list of most transformative colleges. One of America's top colleges for providing opportunities that lead to successful lives and careers, Forbes, August 2018. Number 5 ranking for best online college for value. And the second largest public university MBA program in the Bay Area, ranked by the San Francisco Business Times. And this year, once again, one of the best business schools in the country by the Princeton Review. This year, we launched our new brand expression, Empowering Tomorrow Makers. It serves as a reminder of what our CBE community aspires to do every day to transform the lives of our students and the future world around them. I have the privilege of working with dedicated professionals who do just that and genuinely care about the success of our students. Empowering Tomorrow Makers. This expression is intended to inspire, motivate, and uplift every one of you. This line may be new, but the concept has been in practice since the beginning. Let's watch a short video. The story of the College of Business and Economics is one of innovation and transformative leadership in management education. Before it became what it is today, the College of Business and Economics, or CBE, started out as a division within the State College for Alameda County back in 1959. Under the leadership of Virgil Solera, the first courses were held at Sunset High School and included money and banking, investment analysis, government and business, and international economics. As the 1960s continued, degree programs in business administration, business education, and economics became fully formed. As the university moved to the Hayward campus in 1963, the Division of Business and Economics found its first home in the Music and Business Building. Campus life also flourished with student organizations. Students established the Zeta Tau chapter of Delta Sigma Pi, the prestigious business fraternity which still exists today. L. Glenn Strasberg became the first dean of the official School of Business and Economics in 1970, ushering in an era of growth and recognition. While California State College at Hayward became a California State University, CBE became officially accredited by the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business in 1973, the gold standard of business schools both in the US and worldwide. That was also the year that J.L. Tantz became dean and began his 30 years of service to the college until his retirement in 2003. Growth continued within the student body. Beta Alpha Psi established its Epsilon Psi chapter in 1973, connecting generations of accounting and finance professionals. After a decade, CBE would continue to expand, this time beyond borders. After the world saw the fall of the Berlin Wall, the Institute for Research and Business Development was established in 1993. Russian professionals visited the United States for on-campus training, eventually becoming the Moscow MBA program. Throughout the 1990s, Cal State University Hayward would extend its reach abroad, bringing the American MBA to Austria, Hong Kong, Beijing, and Singapore. With the turn of the century came additional programs that would engage students through an international lens. Students would consult for other businesses through the Transnational Executive MBA program and immerse themselves in learning projects through the Asian International Marketing course. Ever at the forefront of growth and development, the first new academic building in 30 years with both public and private support, the Valley Business and Technology Center, opened on the Hayward campus in 2006, becoming the innovative hub for faculty, staff, student services, events, and state-of-the-art classrooms. In 2010, the online BSBA program became one of the first of its kind to be AACSB accredited. The international MBA programs of the 1990s and 2000s were recreated as the Executive MBA for Global Innovators. To meet the growing needs of the San Francisco Bay Area, additional graduate programs were established: a one-year MBA, MS in Accountancy, MS in Economics, and the STEM-designated MS in Business Analytics. Today, there are 11 undergraduate and 10 graduate programs and concentrations offered in areas including accounting, economics, entrepreneurship, finance, human resources, information technology, management, marketing, and operations and supply chain management. Our business programs thrive both in and out of the classroom, equipping students with communication, leadership, and technology skills for entering the workforce. The College of Business and Economics stands on the foundation of a vibrant community made up of faculty, students, staff, and leadership who have gone before. Today, we move forward, empowering tomorrow makers.
Wow, thank you so much, Dean Lowe. What an amazing video. It was fantastic. So nice to see eager young faces and to learn a little bit more about the college. I did not know about Beta Alpha Psi, I have to say. Wasn't aware of that when I was there. I was a tri-lamb myself, lambda, lambda, lambda. I remember one time we had a pie eating contest, and no, sorry, I'm thinking of Revenge of the Nerds. My bad. I was a commuter. I commuted to the college, but I still had a great experience. As you know, the motto of the CBE is empowering tomorrow makers. And I'm happy to say that we are about to hear from some of those very people. Students who have been empowered by the CBE to transform themselves into future leaders who I'm sure will go on to have a positive impact on their professions and their communities. I believe they will all introduce themselves, so I will hand it over to them. Take it away, tomorrow makers.
Hi, everyone. My name is Thomas Hahn, and it's an honor to be here. I'm a senior majoring in accounting and the major events chair for Beta Alpha Psi. Recently, I came across a unique football article. In that article, a National Football League head coach mentioned how his underdog quarterback, who outprepared each day like an accountant, got the starting quarterback role this season over other higher status quarterbacks. I was shocked by the coach's statement because that was the first time I heard about an accountant being placed at an equal level with a quarterback. However, it's true since accountants can be big decision makers. The article reminded me of numerous people at CBE who have challenged me to out-prepare for opportunities like becoming a CPA and a future leader. In addition, Beta Alpha Psi workshops helped me understand how to out-prepare in the job search process, which helped me land a great tax accounting internship and full-time job at BDO USA. Although some people have treated me less seriously after asking me where I go to school, making me feel like an underdog, I'm grateful to be a student here and to have learned so much from the people here. To all of you who may feel like underdogs, no matter your career or major, I bet you'd be surprised how far you can go when you consistently out-prepare and out-practice like the underdog quarterback. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Celine Santos. I'm a fourth-year business administration major with a concentration in human resources. I plan on graduating in this upcoming spring as well. I remember coming into the College of Business and Economics advising office my freshman year to officially switch my major from biochemistry to business. I've had the pleasure of working as a student assistant for that same office that helped me out for the remainder of my time here. Little did I know that all this would be jump-starting the rest of my career and future. Cal State East Bay has empowered me to make the best out of tomorrow through the support of the dedicated professors and remarkable advisors through my department. I attribute my success at East Bay to their guidance and all the opportunities the college has given me to network, excel, and thrive in my field of study within the business world. I really do believe the experiences, resources, and education I gained during my time here has created a solid foundation for myself to better prepare for a smooth transition from the school to the workforce. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Daniel Alvarado. I'm a current alumni from Cal State East Bay of class of 2020. I'm from Oakland, so I transferred from community college from Laney College to Cal State East Bay. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made. There at East Bay, before I got there, I attended a positive psychology training by Tom Bogwell. There I learned about positive psychology principles and how to apply them to business. Aside from courses, I started a club on campus focused on positive psychology with a group of 10 folks, spreading the great word of how to apply positive psychology in business and personal life. And as well, professionally, I work for a company called Autodesk as their community engagement specialist. And I couldn't have done that without the help of CBE's Career Center, where Travis helped me with my interviewing skills to land that cool job in the marketing field. Altogether, the Cal State East Bay's CBE program has helped me equip me with the skills needed for tomorrow's marketing needs and business needs.
I didn't unmute myself. I apologize. Oh, our first little thing that went wrong. Thank you so much to our speakers, Thomas, Celine, and Daniel. Inspirational to hear from you, and the best of luck to all of you in the future. And now I am thrilled to move on with the show and introduce our keynote speaker, who is really going to be more of a keynote interviewee, because he and I are going to have a conversation that I personally have been really looking forward to. Jack Acosta is an esteemed alumni of California State University, East Bay, then Hayward. He received his BS in Business Administration in 1970. Whoa, sorry. Got you on that one, Jack. And his MBA a few years later, both from this institution, not my house, CSUEB, H at the time. He is a highly successful and distinguished business leader who was instrumental in the growth and development of several prominent national and international companies, but he never forgot where he came from, and he never stops giving back. His list of past and current contributions to the university is long, including his ongoing service on the Cal State East Bay Educational Foundation Board of Directors since 2004. He is a tireless supporter of CSUEB and the CBE, a constant presence at our events and functions, a valued trustee of the university, and one day he and I are going to go golfing together. That's just a fact. Please help me welcome Jack Acosta.
Thank you, JR. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me, Jack?
I can. And by the way, when you did your introduction, you neglected to mention that you have won 8 Emmys. Now, I don't know where you keep those. I don't know where you keep those in your house, but you talk about transforming one's careers and being successful. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. They're for sale at this point, but I appreciate it. Well, first of all, Jack, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, we met at the fundraiser a number of years ago.
We did the 60th for the
Yeah.
for the university. Mhm.
Yeah, that was a really good time. So I did not know this at the time, I don't think, that in 2010, this is something I didn't mention in your own credits, you were awarded with an honorary doctor of humane, they're probably
I was
human, of
quite an
alien
honor.
letters, humane letters by California State University. That had to feel pretty good.
It was wonderful, quite an honor.
And I mentioned your contributions. So let's talk a bit about what inspires you to be so actively involved, not just with Cal State East Bay, but with education in general.
Well, let me just say, I'm a first generation student from my family. I was the first one to go beyond high school, or actually even into high school when I think of my parents.
Wow.
So through my life, I've had the opportunity to do a number of different things. And I went into the military. I was in the military for 4 or 5 years, and then got out and tried to go back to school, and found that it was a challenge. It's a challenge to try and go to school, pay your bills, be involved, live a home life. It was challenging. But as I went through all of that, I found that if you got an education, if you're given the opportunity, if you're willing to work hard, good things could happen. And once I entered my career, and my God, I had 3 or 4 different careers in multiple different companies I've worked with, but there's been that constant about education, how important it is. And when I had retired, funny word to me, retired, I still probably worked as many hours as I ever did. I just do it from home now. But anyway, I felt a strong need, a strong obligation to give back. There's so many people who were in that same position I was many years ago. And if there was some way that I could help, then I wanted to do that. And so I got involved with the university, like you said, in 2004. And it's been a great, great experience for me. I've had the opportunity to work with 3 different presidents there. Most recently, of course, Leroy. He's been the guy that's transformed the university. When I first got involved, Norma Reese, the late Norma Reese, was the president. And that's when we were building the business school. And there was a lot of energy, a lot of effort, and a lot of need by a lot of people, a lot of students for that building to be constructed, for those professors to be there, and certainly for the education that they were going to receive. Because as they go out into the work world, there's nothing more important than having confidence, being able to go off and do things and feel comfortable that you can accomplish the goals of whatever you happen to have. You have your own vision, and you just keep working at it. And giving somebody the opportunity to go achieve their dreams, their goals, was always important to me. So that's why I got involved. And that's why I'm still involved.
And where did you grow up? What drew you to Hayward in the first place?
Well, yeah, I grew up in the Bay Area. My folks, they were, like I say, they didn't finish high school. And we lived in Richmond in public housing. We lived in Oakland in public housing. And then they moved out to Fremont. And then and I went to high school there. But I went into the military.
Did you go to American high school?
I went to Washington High School.
Oh, okay. My mom was a librarian at American.
Oh, is that right? Okay, all right. Small world we live in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I went into the military, got out, and then stayed in the Bay Area. And I'd gone to the local junior college, spent about 1.5 years there. Had been accepted to go over to this well-known private university in Palo Alto. And once I got there, I found out that I couldn't afford to be there. And I needed a job. So I looked around for a job, and I thought I wanted to be in the business world. I didn't really know what that meant, but I thought banking was business. So, and it is to a degree. And so I was working at a service station, Shell service station. And there was a person who kept coming in there, and turned out he was a lieutenant on the local police department, Fremont Police Department. And he suggested, why don't you just apply? come down here and be a police officer. Now, I'd been in the Marine Corps, and a lot of people I knew had been in the Marine Corps had gone into law enforcement. And that really wasn't something I wanted to do, but I needed a job for sure. And so
you weren't attending school yet. You weren't in college yet.
I finished a year and a half of junior college.
Okay.
At that point. And I interviewed some banks, and at the time, you know, they paid you about $500 a month. And today, not much money, but in those days, it seemed like a fair amount. But this lieutenant kept coming into the service station I was working at, and he said, we start at $821 a month. And
did the guy ever buy gas?
He bought gas all the time. Of course he bought gas. Come on. This is not New York. Come on.
Employees all over the place.
So anyway, long story short, I decided to join the Fremont Police Department with the thought process, not to be a police officer long-term by any means, but to fund my education. And so I looked at that time, Cal State Hayward, and found it to be extremely flexible. In law enforcement, you work different hours. You work at night, you work during the day. So you needed flexibility around your schedule. And what I found was the quality of the professors. They were very, very supportive, I would say. I had direct contact with them. I didn't have to go through a TA of some sort. Very helpful. And the attitude was very helpful. It appeared to me that the people I interfaced with wanted you to be successful, wanted you to complete their courses. So that's kind of how it started.
And then you went on to, you worked as a police officer throughout school?
I did, all 7 years while I was going to school.
Wow, that is really rough.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do, right?
Well, it's, yeah, I mean, it takes some drive for sure. I mean, but when I talk to people today about their education,
yeah,
for me, it was having a goal. And that goal was to get the education and then use that education to go off and do something in the business world.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about for the students watching and about that transition.
Mm-hmm.
For you, what were the keys to making that transition from school to the business world, and then and what is your advice to students who are in that same boat right now? Obviously, there are different circumstances, different opportunities, different things holding them back. But,
well, that's right. That's right. It's a little different world today than when I was going through. But I transitioned through several companies, and my career changed several times. But when I look back on it, there's just a few fundamental things I thought were terribly important for me that helped me. First and foremost was the education. Once I had my MBA, that gave me an opportunity. With that opportunity came, of course, a lot of confidence. I felt I could go anywhere and do anything. Whether that was true or not was a different question, but I felt I could do it.
Yeah, right. That's a big part of it, isn't it?
It's a big part of it, confidence. And then, of course, there's no substitute for working hard. No matter, I had a strong work ethic. Wherever I went, whatever job it was, I tried to do the best I could possibly do. And then, of course, along the way, you meet a lot of people, contacts. So if I look at those 4 pillars, that was what helped drive me, and I think was a big reason for success in my career.
And your first job in the business world was what?
Yeah, when I finished my MBA, literally finished my MBA that same day, I was happy, proud, walked into the police department and resigned. Didn't have a job. Okay. Because I'd never wanted to be a police officer to begin with, right? I wanted to be in the business world. So anyway, I applied at Ford Motor Company and was hired there as a first line supervisor producing pickup trucks. By far the toughest job I've ever had in my career. But really? One of the jobs where I learned the most. Huh. You learned about manufacturing, production in the automobile industry. You can go anywhere. And
well, these are the things that the basics, the sort of things that happen down, in the mud that that you have to, doing them and knowing about them, so it helps you then run a department that is in charge of those things. No?
Well, that's right. You get the experience. In those days, this was the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. And, the automobile industry in those days was struggling. And so they had hired 7 of us, 7 MBA students, to come in and try and transform their culture. Well, as soon as the automobile industry started struggling, they were going to have a layoff. And first in, first out is kind of the way it works with the automobile industry in those days. But the one good thing they did do for the people that were on the list to be laid off was bring in other companies, say like a job fair. And for me, that introduced me to Xerox. And then I was fortunate enough to be hired there into manufacturing. And then went over and spent a couple of years doing that. And they were producing Daisy printers in those days. I mean, nobody even knows what those are anymore. But anyway, we were producing them. And they were going through a contraction themselves.
I think that's what they had in our computer lab.
Exactly.
Our one-room computer lab.
But the big break that I think I really got was at Xerox. I mean, when they were going to have a reduction in their production, and I was a first-line supervisor there as well. Based on what I'd been able to achieve and the work that I'd done, they asked me to go into finance. I had an MBA. My major was management sciences, so I knew enough about it to be able to speak the language. And they asked me to go into financial planning and analysis, and so I did. And then after about a year, I was running that particular group. A colleague who I had worked with at Xerox, who was the vice president of manufacturing, went down to Atari and called me up one day and said, I need you to come down here and run my program management office. We're going to be doing a lot of programs, taking product basically from here and moving them offshore into Asia Pacific. And this is someone you had met previously in another. He was the manufacturing vice president at Xerox when I went there. At Xerox, so you had worked with him previously. So I'm not closely, but I knew him exactly. Okay. Right. And anyway, he went to Atari. And so he called me up and said, come run my program manager's office. We got all these things we have to do and have to do it in a short period of time. Ultimately, I said yes. And I get down there, and what I found was I was the program manager. I was the program office. There was no other body there. And so my role was to build it and then take product and move it to Asia Pacific. And I spent about 2 years of my life in that part of the world, just getting factories up and running and buying product back. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So where were you during those 2 years? All over Asia. I was in Hong Kong. I was in Singapore. I was in the Philippines. I was in Taiwan. I went to China. I'm sure that was an interesting experience. And did you find yourself learning a lot about like international business as well? How different these different places might go about the same things that you thought you knew up to now because you knew how to do it in America? The benefit of having that experience was learning the different cultures. When you talk about different business practices that they had, it was a fire hose that you were drinking from because there was so much going on and so much to learn. And I was a novice at it. So anyway, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it, embraced it, and it worked out well. That's excellent. So we're gonna wrap things up, Jack. I'm sorry to say, I would love to talk to you more. I hope we have that opportunity in the future. I know where you live in general. Well, we have a golf course. Yeah, I used to hang out in the frame of your home. I was 12, I think, probably, being from Danville myself. But how about in closing, we do just a quick word to some of the students directly from you. I think they'd really appreciate that. We'd love to hear it. Thanks, JR. The things that I would really emphasize is, get the education. I can't say that enough. It's so important. Cal State East Bay is a wonderful place. It's ranked very, very high. They've got great professors, great leadership. I expect that organization, that university will continue to grow and prosper long term. Develop a strong work ethic. I think that's paramount if you want to be successful. Make contacts along the way. You just never know when somebody you met early in your career might be helpful later in your career. And you yourself also become a contact for other people. Help other people be successful. And I would say, set your goals and never give up on them. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us, Jack.
I'm sure the CSUEB entire community values you very highly. It's always nice to see you. And like I said, I hope I get to see you again soon.
Thanks, JR.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Jack Acosta, everybody, class act. Well, we are now nearing the end of our event, and I think we've saved an excellent way to wrap things up. I'm looking forward to it. It's a panel discussion of entrepreneurship featuring several entrepreneurs, all of whom are alumni of the CBE and moderated by our very own Professor Izette Darandelli. Dr. Darandelli is the CBE's Assistant Professor of Management, Interim Associate Director of the Smith Center, and this year's recipient of the Marv just changed his name, of the Marv Remick Outstanding Faculty Award in Service. So the panel is definitely in good hands. Thank you for letting me be a part of the presentation. I'm going to turn things over now. Please welcome Dr. Izette Darandelli.
Thank you, JR. You are doing an excellent job. I think we should all learn from you. It would be great if we could afford you to help us to keep our students engaged when we are teaching. I don't know if we can afford you writing scripts for our classes. So you are doing an excellent job. This has been going so good. And then, Jack, what a transformational story. So I can't keep listening to your story. I think we need to hear more. And then this is good for us, for as professors, as well as our students. So thanks a lot again for that wonderful story. I'm so excited. I'm so thrilled because today we have this 4 distinguished alumni that we want to introduce to you guys. Each of them have unique stories that each of you can take away something, I guess, from their unique stories. And then all of these stories are not that straightforward. They had challenges, they had to overcome challenges, and then they'll be talking about how they came over some of those challenges while and then in the end becoming successful. So again, what I want to say is you guys, our alumni, make us proud as professors, as instructors, teaching our students, and as a junior faculty, you guys motivate us to believe in that we will be maybe teaching some of the tomorrow's makers. So you guys are so I'm so thrilled to have you guys for our entrepreneurship panel. Here's how we are going to proceed. I'm going to ask one question to each our distinguished entrepreneurs and professionals, our panelists, and then in the end we'll have one question that comes from our UP club, our entrepreneurship club. So and students have submitted questions to ask to our panelists, and then we have chosen the one that's received the most votes from our students. In the end, I'll be asking one question to all of our panelists, and please, our panelists, feel free to chime in and answer that question. So I'll start with Deka. Deka is, I have the privilege to introduce Deka to you because I know you as one of my students from our executive MBA program. You're so successful. A quick bio about Deka. She works for US Bank, manager at US Bank. She's the CEO and founder of Omatachi, a startup that helps connecting first-generation Asian American with their families in China. And then what they are trying to do is they are providing in-home care to their elders back home and giving them the technology to track and monitor their care. Deko is also very generous with her time because she's sitting on the board of Iniso Young Foundation, and she's also on the advisory board of Junior Achievement. So I'm so thrilled to have you here again, Deka. Thanks a lot for joining our panel. I have a question for you. You have been one of our finalists in our pitch competition as well, right? So if you can, it will be great if you can mention us a little bit about how did you come up with this idea about behind this Omotochi, and then what during your time at Cal State East Bay helped you to turn your idea into a reality? Because I know you received some funding as well. So can you tell us about this process? Thank you.
Thanks, Izette, and thank you for the warm introduction. You forgot to mention that I was your best student. I don't know why you didn't mention that, but so Cal State East Bay, I think that my story would not be complete without, talking about my MBA program there. When I started, or when we went for the info session, I always tell the story. Um, Glenn Taylor told us then that we're gonna create bond and get to know just strangers that we just met like really well. Within the first few weeks, I thought he was just joking, but it wasn't a joke. My first class was with Tom Bagwell, and my mind was blown because I got to build deep bond with a lot of my cohort. Everybody there really. Then also I met my co-founder in that program, so that I'm thankful for. For the company, how I came up with that was we had the immersion program or trip to China last year, which was led by Professor Glenn Taylor, and it was one of the best trips I've ever been to. It was very intense. We visited 10 over 10 companies in 10 days, and we visited 4 cities. We got to learn how business was done in China, and the culture, it was very different. It was similar to my culture in Nigeria, but also different. While we were there, I started talking to a lot of people trying to find out because I was intrigued by the way business was done there. I started talking to people and trying to find out what the pain points were, what I could do, what kind of business I could do there. And one thing that stood out to me was the senior care business because due to I don't know if everybody knows this, but China had a one-child policy a few years ago, and because of that there's this aging population. And of course, first generation, for example, first generation Chinese Americans here, they came out here to pursue their careers, and they leave their parents at home, and but they are obligated legally and culturally to take care of them. So we came up with a way to help with that, and with all the resources, guidance, that I got from Cal State East Bay, I was able to make this a reality. I got guidance from the professors. I could call any of the professors to actually, help me, and they're so willing to do that, no questions asked. I've been introduced to, industry leaders by some of the professors. During the pitch competition that we did last year, is that like you mentioned, I found out about Founder Institute. I didn't even know that was a thing. Founder Institute is a pre-accelerator program that helps businesses, from start to launch. And I'm actually currently going through that program. It's really intense, but very, very fruitful, very exciting. So thank you. I hope I was able to answer your question, Professor Izet.
Always. I know I give you a hard time, but it's the result was pretty good. So thanks a lot. So, and I think it's quite interesting that small things add up, and then small connections add up, and then I think these are all things that make you successful. So thanks a lot for sharing your story, and
Thank
then
you for having me.
we'll hear from more from you. Next, I want to move on to Elnaz. Elnaz is our BA 2012 art alumni. She is the founder and CEO of Roybe Robot. She's a serial entrepreneur with over 15 years of experience in technology, business, sales, and marketing. She's the founder of the Roybe. It's an investor-backed tech company. It's focused, very interesting. It's focusing, listen to this, guys. It's focusing on early childhood education, and with supporting with artificial intelligence and kind of, I think, combining robotics. And her company recently raised $4.2 million in its seed round. Elnaz is also sitting at the board of Consumer Technology Association and Small Business Council. So again, I'm very thrilled to have you here, Elnaz. Thanks a lot for joining us. My question. So what you are doing with Roybe is a great example. All this team of tomorrow making your company received this $4.2 million investment you guys have received. But it would be great if you can tell us what is the tomorrow that you are really envisioning for Roybe. Is it like, what's that tomorrow? Can you tell us? And then maybe what made you go on, if you have time, despite being rejected like 200 times while trying to raise that money? So please.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind introduction and inviting me and Roybe Robot here. I'm really honored, and it really helps me to go back to my great memories at the time that I was attending the East Bay. And it is really incredible to see how things actually changed from the time that I was at school and now running Roybe. But in terms of the company, we started the idea of Roybe about 3.5 years ago, and our mission has always been to personalize education for children, because we believe no longer it should be one size fits all. But after a lot of research, we found out that there is no good tool or products in early childhood education, and it's an extremely critical time for children as they grow up for the future success. It's a very critical time, but huge gap in this category. So we decided to utilize artificial intelligence to create our Roybe robot, which is an AI-powered robot for kids. Right now, we are focusing in language learning and basic STEM. In terms of the whole process, I have to say it has been an incredible journey. Lots of ups and downs. When we started the idea and went out to do fundraising, it was very challenging because at that time, we didn't even have a working prototype. So it was really hard to convince the investors to actually invest in our team and our abilities and what we did in the past. And rather than just looking at the product and numbers and really believe in our mission in the future. It took a lot of no's and rejections. As you mentioned, more than 200 people told me no. And finally, we got our first investor in that they believed in our mission, that we are going to really change the way that children learn in the future. And the fact that AI and personalized education is going to be the future of how kids should learn. And then after a lot of conversations, our second investor came in and he gave us a big funding. We were not even expecting that. And it just happened all of a sudden. We were looking to raise only 1 million. And then our investor said, hey, let me give you all the capital because you still need to raise more money and save your time and focus on launching the product. And I'm so glad that happened, because then we got featured on the cover of Time magazine as one of the best inventions in education. So it has been quite incredible. And what I learned as an entrepreneur to also get me going is when you believe in your mission and you know you love what you're doing and you know you're going to make a difference and have a significant impact, it doesn't matter how many rejections you get. All you think is moving forward, try many different ways, and in the end, it's just going to happen. And that's what happened for us, and it has been really incredible and exciting.
Thank you, Anas. Thank you for your inspirational words. You guys are doing a great job, and I believe Roybe will be a really, really very successful company. You guys will disrupt the education industry.
And we have many amazing supporters to support us, just like yourself, and spreading the word about our mission. So we are really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Anas, again. Next, I want to move on to an exceptional individual, Mike Koch. He graduated from in 1990. He's currently founder and president of the Terrana Realty Corporation. He actually co-founded the Terrana Realty Corporation, and he served as the president, as a director since February 2010. His exceptional career included serving as a chief financial officer of AMB, now it's Prologis, which is a very big company, and president and chief executive officer of IAT Aviation Facilities, which is a Canadian income trust company. Mr. Koch also serves as a director of Digital Realty Trust, which is a public company at New York Stock Exchange, a leading global provider of data center co-location and interconnection solutions. Exceptional career. You have an exceptional resume. So thanks a lot, Mike, again, joining our entrepreneurship panel, Tomorrow Makers panel. This your resume, your experience includes leading multi-billion-dollar companies as well as finding amazing companies, right? And taking them to the IPO, which is also another big challenge. So can you tell us how you decided to become a true tomorrow maker? Because I know you started you had a CPA, right? You were an accountant student, and how you decided to become a true tomorrow maker, and then how us, maybe California State University, help you in this amazing journey.
Thank you for having me. It's interesting listening to a lot of other panelists that have had similar paths as myself. I started at East Bay or Cal State Hayward back then, back in the day, and I didn't know I wanted to be an accountant. I didn't know I was going to go into accounting. I knew from an early age I wanted to start businesses and I wanted to do real estate. I just knew that. And I had little businesses all through, little middle school and high school and things like that I did. And when I ended up at Hayward, I got into accounting because I took a class and it was really easy. And I thought, oh, this is my entry into business. I had no idea what you did with an accounting degree at that point in time, but I knew this was my path. And I was fortunate to have some amazing professors. One in particular, Bruce Rain, was phenomenal at kind of guiding me. And so I ended up graduating Hayward and getting a job at Arthur Andersen. I had no idea what public accounting did at that point in time. I had interned at Chevron and decided I really didn't want to do that. Went into Andersen, was there for 7 years where I did a lot of, was fortunate to do real estate, take companies public and learn about things, because what I thought was most beneficial about my time at Hayward or East Bay, was that by getting the accounting degree, it gave me the ability to get into a business and see what was going on and learn about what other people did. And from there, I could decide, well, I no longer want to be an agent. I want to be a principal. And I was there about 7 years, decided I want to be a partner. And I left and joined the company called A&B as they were going public, became the CFO there, spent 10 years there building that business. We went from, $4 or $5 billion company to a $15 billion company in 14 countries around the world. And ultimately decided that I wanted my own thing. I had been helpful in building something, but when you found something, it's yours. And I wanted that. The company was the CEOs, and I wanted to start my own thing. And so a partner and I broke out on our own. I retired for a year right before the great financial crisis. So I sat that one out on the sidelines and then started Terreno with the idea that I was going to take the best of what I learned at A&B and apply that in a much simpler format. And ultimately was able to start the company with my partner. We raised an IPO money where we was just basically 6 people in a business plan in 2010, coming out of the great financial crisis, with the plan of we're going to own warehouses in 6 markets close in, because we think that's the best strategy long term as people want to get their goods. Now, they happen upon the fact that the e-commerce has now come in and has made my business tremendous, very profitable at what I own, because I'm in the right place at the right time. I looked at it all along. I've had 3 jobs since I graduated. That's it. And every one of those that I looked at was, how do I gather skills that can benefit me in the next thing I do? I used my accounting job to learn about, the basics of finance. So if I understood the accounting, I could understand profits. Therefore, I could understand how companies really made money and people valued them. And then as I became a CFO, I became more operational and learned about how the operating decisions affect results. And then ultimately, I became an entrepreneur by starting a company and getting to decide what I wanted to do and how I want to spend my time versus how I don't want to spend my time. And that is much more enjoyable aspect. When you're your own boss and you can decide what you like to do and what you don't like to do, you can kind of sort of say, I'm not doing that today. I'm going to do this because I enjoy this. And I think that makes you more successful. So it kind of compounds on itself. So I've been fortunate, have been, worked for some great companies and now have a great company of my own with a partner. So I've been blessed by that.
I love what you guys are doing, and I love the fact that you are proud of the company that you founded, and then it's a great success. And then I think it motivates our students. So it's a great chance to have a accomplished alumni like you. So thanks a lot again joining our. So we'll be connected. We'll hear more from you for sure. Next, I want to move on to Ubong. Ubong is, I'm also very excited to introduce Ubong to you guys because Ubong is one of our finalists that we have from our pitch competition that we held last year with the Smith Center for Private Studies, and with the support of Up Club and the Dean, George Lowe, the Dean's office was a big supporter of that event. He also works for US Bank, but at the same time he received his MBA from CSUEB in 2020. He is the founder and president of and CEO of the Iniso Youth Foundation. That's I'm a big supporter. It's a great company. You guys are doing an excellent job. It's a non-profit NGO centered building a platform for youth empowerment in Nigeria through sports, arts, entertainment, while simultaneously teaching them workforce skills to help discover a brighter future. He is an advocate for disfranchised youth and believes that given the opportunity, they will thrive in today's world. So I know you are doing a zillion of things, Ubong. So you are an amazing individual. I'm so happy to have you as a student. You also did good in my class as well. You are one of my second best student after Deka, of course. So I know your biggest dream is Iniso. You keep believing in that. And then maybe if you can talk us a little bit about Iniso, then tell us what motivated you to choose to become a social entrepreneur, which I call being on the dark side. It's even more challenging, right? So so what made you become so resilient? Why are you doing this? Can you tell us, please?
Absolutely. First, thank you, Professor Zed, for the awesome introduction. Thank you so much, and thank you to all the panelists and everyone watching for having me. So yeah, like Professor Zed had mentioned, Iniso is a nonprofit. It's based out of Nigeria. So what we do is empower youth, and we do that through sports, arts, and entertainment, while at the same time teaching them workforce skills to help discover a brighter future. So what motivated me to become a social entrepreneur, right? So for me, I've always had this desire to give back community I came from. Obviously, being raised in Nigeria, I always had it in mind that I wanted to do something to give back what I could. And the best way was through sports. And I enjoyed playing soccer as a kid. It taught me a lot of things, taught me about teamwork and what have you. So the story goes, I made it from Nigeria to America. I would go back home to visit family, but I'll make it a point to go back to play in these locations in the community where I grew up playing. And from that, I was able to pretty much what I did was tell, the few people we had, like, hey, you know what, next time I come, let's just do something for the community. Let's make it a community event, a block party if you may, for recognition and for a little cash prize. And to my surprise, the word of mouth, the power of word of mouth, this is when I knew it could be real powerful. It traveled so much that the turnout that we had was incredible throughout the whole people of the community that ultimately attracted media attention. So something that's supposed to be 24 people getting together and just, having fun and celebrating, it turned out to have over 500 participants. Almost scaring me to not want to do anything about it because it kept building. But that's when I decided we should, start something, and that's how Iniso was born. So with the experience with California State University East Bay, attending the MBA program for me was a great deal, especially the program I was in, the Global Innovators I was admitted to. I initially spoke with Professor Glenn, who told me what I could expect from the course, the way it was designed with cohorts, and what I would get out of it, or hopefully get out of it. And those words actually became true, because throughout the whole program, with all the amazing professors we had, from Tom Bagwell, you got to learn about culture, you got to learn about personalities, we got to learn about resilience. Ultimately, the final program we had that was actually led by Professor Glenn and Professor Zet, the capstone program, embodied everything. We went through understanding what it takes to build a brand, understanding your target market, and also understanding the market factors that encompasses what it is to build a brand. And I think with that and the cohorts that we had, amazing cohorts, I just think that program itself, the way it's designed with cohorts, all of us work together in something we believe in that eventually is going to help build resilience. So.
Thank you, Bong. And then it's great to hear you that, you still remember the things that, we try to teach you guys, and we learn so much from you guys as well. Here's the question, given that we don't have enough time, here's a question for all of our panelists. This question came from our students from Up Club. They facilitated some questions, and then they decided that they are going to ask this question, this challenging question to you, which is, do you think Elon Musk is the next Steve Jobs? I don't know who wants to go.
I'll go first. No, he hasn't yet. His product, I think Steve Jobs transformed our lives and actually opened up for broader than the people who bought the phone. And so I think he was transformative. I think Elon Musk is an amazing businessman and entrepreneur with his car, but it's just an iteration. It's evolutionary, not revolutionary. So no.
I think actually yes, or even maybe not just next, even bigger, not because of the transformation aspect of it, because of his mission and what he's trying to do in many different categories, environment, space, and his efforts are going to actually come to fruition a little bit longer than what we've seen with Steve Jobs. And he's already also my role model.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. For me, the way I look at it is Elon Musk is going to be the next Elon Musk. I mean, yes, they're changing the way things work in the world, for a better place, if you may. And but he's going to do it in his own way. They're similar, but they're different. So, yeah.
I absolutely agree with you.
Great. So it's all these different views, and then I think it concludes our entrepreneurship panel. And I again want to thank you all, each individual, and all the people that have put this event together, this panel together. I hope you guys enjoyed our panel. And again, I want to thank our distinguished alumni who joined our entrepreneurship panel. And then I want to move on the mic to George, our Dean, George Lowe. And that concludes our panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Izette, and this really super entrepreneurship panel. This has been a fantastic virtual 50th anniversary tribute. So a big thank you to all of our students, alumni, faculty, staff, and friends for attending and being a part of our celebration of 50 years of transformation. Also, a big thank you to J.R. Havlin for being such an amazing host, to President Morishita for your leadership and your message today, and to all the panelists and organizers of this event. Thank you also to the Cal State University, Cal State East Bay Jazz Band for opening this virtual event, and they will close us out. So thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. Take care, stay safe and healthy.